Are we live? Hurry up. Are we live?
The Hangout is live.
All right.
What the fuck is that all about? What up?
Whoa.
It's your boy Sean and
Your boy.
Geno.
The General.
And Matt Roth is on his way. He's driving somewhere on the streets of Austin, Texas right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whoo! SummerSlam, everybody.
Summer slamming. Slamming in the summertime is easy. That doesn't make any sense.
No,
What'd you think of the show?
I don't know. I'm wiped out. Just a lot of fucking wrestling.
Wrestling.
Some weird shit happened that I don't know. It was an emotional roller coaster tonight.
Yeah. No Kane.
No.
That does not gotta be Kane.
No.
As it turns out. Instead, meatloaf jokes. Ladies and gentlemen, you needed to be following Cageside Seats on Twitter at Cageside Seats to catch my fucking awesomely timed. That match worked out beautifully for my meatloaf jokes, and I don't know why meatloaf was the thing that I chose. I haven't had meatloaf in years and years.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, that could be it. But it worked out real well for meatloaf, and it didn't work out very well for really anything else. I mean, no, my story is intact.
It is.
Undertaker is a cheating motherfucker who will do whatever he needs to do. Man. He tapped furiously to the Kimura, and then the what the okay. So you do the screwy finish, you know, right? Yeah. Why go with this? That Undertaker taps, and okay, so the referee wasn't in position, but neither was the timekeep.
No.
What's he?
Well, whoever's directing the show, which we assume is Kevin Dunn, couldn't fucking catch it live, so none of us knew what was going on.
No one knew anything that was happening. Just a terrible.
Thank God for Paul Heyman.
Finish. Yeah.
He recognized that he needed to run in and scream, he tapped, because otherwise no one, even live, would know what was going on.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, Matt Roth, hey.
Hi, guys. Sorry, I hit every single red light on the way home.
Oh, that's right. Geno just wanted to talk. He just wanted to put over his meatloaf jokes anyway, so.
Dude, I had mad meatloaf jokes on the Twitter tonight, Roth. I'm so happy.
You did have a lot of meatloaf jokes, man.
I'm so happy about it. Like, it helped me to not be really upset about this match and the way it played out.
Oh, you mean Monday Night Raw?
It is. This is what the attitude. This is what the network era has wrought. Is we are now getting everything on the show. They said this angle's not over. Nothing wraps up. It's all tune in next time.
The best match of the night was in the death slot, and no one could care about it.
No.
So it was like, yeah. But so yeah.
Well, I don't know if that was the. Well, it was one of the. I was a big fan of the tag match too, but that feels like it was 6.5 days ago.
That's true, and that's the downfall of such a long show. But since we're starting from the main event and working back,
all right.
Yeah, I just don't understand. You do the screwy finish. I don't know why you go with that particular screwy finish to have him tap. I guess because they wanted to get across that he lost, right? And it's very clear that he was tapping, although not initially, and maybe that was part of what they were going for, that they could go back and look at it, and you couldn't see upon the original viewing, so that would play into why the ref maybe didn't see it, but I don't know how the timekeeper would have then saw it and called for the fucking bell and actually rang the bell.
The timekeeper have the authorization to do that.
Exactly. It was just so weird for the referee to be yelling out, like, you don't call for the bell, that's my job. And it's like, what? What do you even say? Like, and again, like you said, we only knew anything was even going on because Paul Heyman jumped in and started talking about, wait, he tapped. And it's like, this is a clusterfuck already. This is not how you want to end your matches. And then, yeah, but it does play into, you know, again, the ref goes to restart the match while his back's turned. Undertaker hits him with the low blow, and does the Hell's Gate again, and they had the, you know, I guess their saving grace was to just have Brock flip him off and hope that people were like, hey, that's cool. I mean, it helped my meatloaf jokes, but other than that, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I liked it. It goes in, it plays with what my story was, which I like that part of it because I'm a little vain, whatever. But it wasn't. I'm not a satisfied customer.
But here's my beef. Everything needs to play out for the live audience. So like, so the people in the arena, that's the same reason why like the street fight matches that like go into the back, they always need to end in pinfall in the ring because everything needs to pay off for the people in the arena, and nobody in the arena had any idea what was going on. Like that was silence. That was not how you pay off a big match, at least from like a live crowd where like this is the Undertaker getting getting his win back. Like, everybody should just explode in excitement, and it didn't happen because nobody had any idea what the fuck happened.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, this is weird, and I tweeted about this, too, since we're all putting over our Twitters. That sounds funny. Put over your Twitter. Anyway, I mean, Undertaker comes out with this pretty clear heel now, right? I mean...
But sure. Does he?
I mean, he tapped out, which one thing... I mean, that's a very un-Undertaker move. Then he cheated. I mean, I'm guessing we're going to get some sort of angle where he paid off. The timekeeper is somehow in his pocket or something. I don't know.
But here's my problem is that the Undertaker is always going to get the big, the big face pop because the Undertaker.
I thought tonight, I couldn't tell. My stream was crap all night. I had the problems Geno was having last night. Tonight, I thought Brock got a bigger pop than Taker on the entrances.
Yeah, yes, he did. But he still got a pop.
Oh, yeah.
So from now on, forever, the Undertaker is always going to be a face because he's this legend that, like, since he doesn't show up all the time, he's always going to get a pop. Hulk Hogan, the man who should not be named, he's right now he's not allowed to be in arenas.
Yeah.
But if he showed up on Monday Night Raw, all is forgiven. It's Hulk Hogan. Let's cheer for him. Like, that's how. And the Undertaker isn't a racist homophobe. Like, all he is just some. He
just an old guy who likes his wife's meatloaf, but he's just had it too much.
Like he's always going to get a pop. He's always going to get a pop. The Undertaker is forever going to be a babyface.
That's what I'm saying is I don't understand where this goes from here. I mean, are we going to wait till Mania, or are they going to do this again, like, to try to pop a subscription number for Night of Champions or something?
It's why I assumed Kane would come back, so Brock would have something to do in the meantime trying to get to Mania. I assume maybe Undertaker feels good enough to come back, or if he gets through the match okay, because they didn't put any restriction on anything they were doing. They did a bunch of German suplexes. Mm-hmm. I saw a couple different times where he double tapped with his head, and I thought for sure he's concussed again for sure, but he made it through okay. He looked a lot better. The match was essentially the WrestleMania 30 match, but with a different ending. Mm-hmm. He kicked out of the third F5 this time, and so they kind of advanced that. Psychologically, like, everything was, like, really actually pretty good.
There was a point in the middle of this where I was loving this match. I thought they exceeded my expectations by a lot.
Again, for the story, it made sense. For the story they were telling and the story I'm telling, everything kind of made sense and played into all of that. And if they're in fact building to a third match, which you have to think they are now. There's no way they're not building to that now. That would mean then that this was all absolutely the right call. It's that thing, kind of like Money in the Bank with Rollins and Ambrose. Story was great. Match was good, but the finish just left you feeling like, I don't really like that. Because it's not like we get really excited for a 3 count. You get your big move, and we cheer, and then we count along with the 3, and that's a fun, cool thing. And you're conditioned for that. So when you get something that's different than that, like this, especially when it's screwy and it's setting something up for later, it naturally feels unsatisfying because you know that you still haven't gotten to the payoff yet, and you're in that period where it's like, I didn't like this. You know what I mean? Because there's something still to have to wait for, and we're gonna have to wait out 6-7 months until WrestleMania 32 for to see. Okay, I guess Brock retires him for good at that point. He goes out on his back, and we can just get excited for the actual retirement match. So everything was good. It's just you feel like you're not satisfied because we're not at the end yet. So this is a necessary step, but it still feels kind of.
But I don't even think it's a necessary step, but it played out so wrong. And again, I'm gonna harp on this because it needs to play out well for the live crowd because you need that reaction. And this wasn't the stunned reaction of Brock Lesnar beating the Undertaker and ending the streak. There was silence there, and that was out of stun. Like, the Undertaker's not supposed to lose, especially to a part-timer. That's not supposed to happen. That was stunned silence. This was different. This is silence because nobody understood what actually happened, and because the tap, it wasn't on the mat, it was on the thigh, so it's an MMA tap out.
Yeah.
MMA is shot differently. The referee is in the right place. There's no ring person. ringing a bell. Like there is, but like I don't know, man. Like this, I don't think it gets us there. I think this is.
Well, it doesn't. Here's what I think, and what's weird about it too. Well, one thing I think, especially for the live audience, I mean, if you paid whatever the fuck a floor seat for SummerSlam must cost, and everything you got nothing paid off tonight, everything was come back tomorrow night, I'd be pissed off. So there's that.
Sure.
But there's also, I think, what's missing here, and we talked about this last week, I can't even remember. Like I said, it's been a lot of fucking wrestling over the last few days.
Yes.
We need a promo from Undertaker where he's not the dead man, where he's not talking about rest in peace, where he's saying, I'm a human being, and I'm not going out like this. Because that's where this falls apart. That's where this isn't Shawn Michaels, where he could act heelishly but be sympathetic. Because we're still getting, that which is dead can never die, and yada. I mean, fucking like Bray Wyatt promos. Instead of just, I'm a man with a legend that I care about, and I'm going to do whatever I have to protect it and go out the right way. And if he comes back and cuts that promo, we can even get through a few more months with it. But right now, it's just, they haven't given us that, so we just saw the mythical undead figure nut shot and cheat and everything else.
But you're thinking then that it's a character problem.
I think that's the missing piece to your story, is that we haven't gotten him being a man instead of being
the character.
Right.
Okay.
Because that also ties into the MMA finish, which I think that's what they were kind of going with. They wanted this. They didn't want it to be Kane and Mystical Fire. They wanted it to be something that was real. That was the screw job or the screwy finish.
Also, at least somewhat frustrating that they kept calling this, it's WrestleMania, and it's this match is it's too big for WrestleMania, and they promoted it like it was. We're supposed to look at it like a WrestleMania, and then like you said, WrestleMania is where everything finishes. Part of the appeal of WrestleMania is that you're getting an end point. This is where everything ends, right? This is the payoff. And this was the exact opposite. This was more like, this is where everything begins, right? Like the beginning of the build to WrestleMania 32, which is fine, but that's not how they promoted it. That's not how they put this together. So it's like, you go into that and you think, we're going to get all these grand payoffs, but we didn't even have the stories to get to a payoff. So everything was just transitional. So it's just at that point it's kind of on us. It's just a question of what you were willing to accept. What were your expectations versus what we knew would inevitably happen? And we knew what would happen. I mean, we all called this. So can we really be, you know what I mean? And plus it's like, God, Sasha and Bayley fucking destroyed every other match this weekend.
Yep.
Nothing even came close.
Well, and for me personally, I also got exhausted today, like arguing with people who said you can't criticize anything about NXT and that I should just be happy that match went on second, which is a totally like a personal thing, but this whole weekend just wore my ass out. Really
silly stuff, yeah. That's what I said. Someone said you guys can't just be happy, like it was such a good match, and as I said on Twitter, I was like, man, you can be happy with second best, but from that spot, the view never changes, baby.
I mean, I could be happy. I mean, I love that match, but it still had. I mean, there's still problems surrounding it. It's not. I'm not saying that it's a bad match because anyway, yeah.
Like, here's the thing though. All the way up until the finish, all the way up until that weird ending, it was a really good match.
Yeah.
It's a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
This is the match that we probably should have gotten at WrestleMania before the Undertaker got concussed.
Yeah.
This is a really good match. This exceeded my expectations.
This was even a better match because of that match, because I spent, around the time when they did the table spot and shit, I was legitimately worried that he was going to get fucked up again. So It had that story built into this story.
I was worried every single suplex that something got fucked up. Every single suplex. And so for me, this exceeded expectations. They lost me on the ending, and unfortunately, that ending was so bad that I don't want to say unforgivable because I'm right now I'm annoyed, but I'm gonna rewatch it and I'm gonna go, all right, it kind of makes sense. Or we're gonna see tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw and we can go, oh, okay, this is what they're doing, they're doing going forward. But right now, 10:15 p.m. on Sunday night, I'm disappointed in how that match ended, and so that kind of tarnishes the rest of the match in my eyes.
I assume they're both booked for tomorrow night. I mean, it's in the same building, so.
Yeah, I mean, like my favorite part of the match was the Brock Lesnar laughing in the Undertaker's face, and then the Undertaker mocking him with that psychotic like that's kind of stuff that where you're just like, oh my god, this is so good, and then
nobody talks about his wife's meatloaf.
Never. Don't talk about his wife's meatloaf.
Only he can talk about Michelle's meatloaf.
Don't you ever. He didn't even want to be here, but I'm just tired of the meatloaf, dude. I can't do it anymore.
Oh, man.
Dude, yeah, so, yeah. And then, yeah, man, I don't know.
Would it have been better if it hadn't been the second screwjob finish of the night from one of the big matches?
Yeah, both of the big matches were screwy finishes. That just, at least this one made sense. Why in the fucking, that's a good enough segue. Why in the fucking world did John Stewart turn heel?
I love it. I love it because I called it.
It's so pro wrestling, but I'm like, why?
I called it last night. It was me, Geno. It was me all along.
It was such a, you know what it was? It was so WCW. Like, the celebrity comes in and he plays a huge role in a pivotal the world title match, and he turns to help his fucking mortal enemy. And there's no reason. There's no good reason to do it other than headlines, which is like exactly WCW booking in a nutshell.
So here was the only problem I have with that. The only problem I have with that is how long it took to actually get the chair shot payoff.
So poorly executed.
Like he was in the ring for like a good 30 seconds.
He telegraphed the fuck out of it. There was like 4 times where as soon as he got in, I knew he was turning on Cena.
Oh man, I'm so happy I called it last night. I said he was joining the Authority, and like I love it because
so that's the Authority doesn't even exist anymore. Triple H didn't even get involved in this.
Nope.
Unless he hired Stewart. But my fantasy booking of this is that John Stewart is the ultimate. He is one of us. He is in the internet wrestling community. He is a fucking smart. He called it wrestling when he talked to Heyman. He does it. He hates John Cena. He was a real wrestler to be the champion, and even through all his issues with Rollins, he's watched him through ROH, and that's a real wrestler. And Cena sucks.
But he didn't help Seth Rollins tonight. He helped the White Power Ranger.
Oh man.
I couldn't believe. I was laughing so hard. As soon as he walked out, I could not stop laughing.
Who let him wear that? Who saw that and said, yeah, go ahead?
He looked awesome. Fuck you guys.
This is a great idea, Seth. You know what it is? It's because he's a heel. This was the worst gear since Sean's diarrhea shit gear at fucking Survivor Series 2002. This was the best thing, dude.
He looked amazing.
He looked like the stupidest human on earth. Like, I was like, I can't believe he actually fucking wore that. That man is on TV looking that ridiculous.
Okay, so I watched it with some buddies tonight, and like 6 people. The only female there was my friend Will's wife, and like the 5 guys were like, he looks awesome. Like that outfit is tight, and his wife goes, he looks so dumb. With that gold trim. She was the only naysayer. Everybody else that I watched with, including myself, think he looked awesome.
That says it all. That says it all.
I trust her.
I fully expected him to break out a guitar and like he was straight out of 3,000 Miles to Graceland, dude.
But have you guys seen the Instagram that was going around with him with the New Day, who were also wearing a white and gold ensemble?
Yeah, I did not.
It's pretty funny. I'll have to put it in the comments. Which also it goes along with white and gold was what you wanted to wear this weekend because that's what Bayley was rocking last night. White and gold was the winning color combination.
It was a interesting color choice as far as Cena was wearing black, Rollins was wearing white.
Mm-hmm.
Cena wasn't working heel necessarily, but he was certainly playing under the crowd. Mm-hmm. The roles were reversed, at least as far as crowd reaction goes, and Rollins was working babyface offense. So it was like a really weird sort of match that they had, but it was also a John Cena main event formulaic type of match, which is, you get your setup out of the way, and then you have that moment where it switches, and you know that you're in the epic main event level match where it's big spot, near fall, big spot, near fall, bigger spot, near fall, bigger spot, near fall, finish. And it always works. They vary it up just enough that it works really well. Like stuff like the figure 4, where it was like, oh, is he going to get world title reign number 16 on the figure 4, and then Rollins reverses it, and then that gets the pop, and then they break, and then it gives everyone the chance to come back down like, holy fuck, what a match. Right. And then they go back and do it again. So that formula is always going to work, and it's great, and it's grand, and all that. But yeah, the Stewart heel turn kind of hurt.
So here's how you pay off the Stewart heel turn in for Sean, who brings up the internet wrestling community. Tomorrow night, John Stewart comes out and just shoots on Kevin Dunn.
How does that make sense?
Why? Because fuck Kevin Dunn.
If it sets him up opposite, then you bring in Vince, and you got the WrestleMania angle is Stewart versus McMahon. McMahon can bring back Donald Trump,
and
Hall of Famer, WWE Hall of Famer, and presidential candidate Donald Trump.
Bring back Cageside Seats commenter Alex Greenfield, and everybody wins.
My God, you guys are. Am I talking to Vince Russo here, or like those are awful ideas.
So what so tomorrow night, do we find out that Stewart he bought in, he joined the Authority? That was.
I guess I doubt they ever bothered to explain it, or there's some backstage segment or whatever. Or I think maybe they put up a Vine of him after it happened. I haven't had the chance to watch it yet. I was too busy making meatloaf jokes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's probably going to be a Raw Fallout type of explanation, some video they put up on YouTube that we're going to get that we're going to have to circulate. But I don't. It's just such a. I mean, if it's like you're saying, and he says, "Look, I'm a wrestling fan first and foremost, and they put me in a host position, and when I had an opportunity to do something and make myself famous for 15 minutes after I retired from my old gig, I went out there and I chair shotted John Cena. Why? 'Cause fuck John Cena." And then he just walks off. I would accept that. That'd be fine with me. But I
hope he's not involved in the long term. I mean,
dude, it's the world title match, like. It's
the double title match. They've just created their own Jay Lethal.
Yeah, this is it's a super important match, and a fucking John Stewart is deciding it. Like, there's something about that just kind of like it's slow wrestling, but there's some Jim Cornette in me that's kind of bugged by it.
The other thing that's really frustrating for me is that, like you said, since they were playing with the alignment and Seth was kind of working babyface, we saw more of his offense than we've seen.
Yep.
Fucking since the Shield days, and it was a lot of fun to see that Seth Rollins back.
Yeah, it was.
And then, of course, he still can't get a clean win, though. He can't win. He can't win. He's the most not winning. He's surpassed Miz now because Miz didn't have the belt that long.
According to him, he's doing a bang-up job.
He needs a statue.
You're just an idiot who doesn't understand heat.
He needs a statue.
Yeah, he's going to get a statue now, but yeah, I don't know. It just bugs me in some ways.
I agree. I mean, it's weird. It's bizarre to have both of them on the same fucking show. Those are your two main events, and they both end with a celebrity, and then with fucking Lawler and Cole debating the timekeeper's role. That's your closing shot from your match of the century. That was too big for WrestleMania.
Bizarre, but Cesaro and Kevin Owens was, I thought, the best match on the card. And they put it in the death slot, so it died a death because there was just no chance for it. The crowd was just gone at that point.
Yep.
And Kevin Owens is gonna,
what the fuck is the booking on that? I don't get it. I mean, I'm glad Owens got a win, but I thought they were positioning Cesaro for a little bit of a rise up.
I mean, the babyface, as we always say, the babyface is the one that needs to chase. So you got.
But what are they chasing?
I don't know, man. Kevin Owens.
Yeah, he needed to win. I guess after they, after everything happened, and commentary was treating him really well. I was kind of surprised by it. I was like, wow, I don't know if something had to change because they were really shitty to him and had been even Cole, who they have a whole thing going with Owens calling Cole out and being shitty to him. So it's like I was kind of surprised that they were so. Suddenly he was, he moves really well for a big man instead of he's a fat ass. You know what I mean? Like, it was such a big shift from what or maybe that was just also our perception as far as, the rumors get around and they just kind of get bought into, right. And then reports go around and Meltzer says something on Observer Radio and that gets around and it's, you know what I mean? Maybe it's like a self-fulfilling, we want to see something that isn't there. But
total speculation, but I could see based on what the stories we've heard about Vince that he would see Owens go out and have that match last night and come into his office today and say, yeah, don't cut anything. I'm ready to go half an hour. I could see Vince seeing that as like a sign of manhood that he would respect, and then toning down the other stuff too. I don't know. That's just me. I have no information to validate that, but
sure,
that makes sense in my head.
The Divas.
Oh fuck! This was so I was really depressed heading into the main event because Geno yelled at me on Twitter. Everybody didn't see that behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
I fucked up the creation of the second open thread.
I didn't yell at you. I was.
Oh, you were mean, man. You
I
were
said
mean.
fucking hell, but it wasn't like at you. It was just like generally like, oh fucking hell, Sean. Like, how do you not get this right? Like, there's a
No,
bad
there was a. I'm looking at it now. There was a fuck it, I'll do it. There was dude.
I went fucking
There
Bill
was
O'Reilly.
fucking
Fuck it, I'll
hell.
do it live. Get out of the post. I'll do it. Fuck it.
So that happened to me. That was tough on me, I have to admit. The Divas Revolution match was a fucking steaming pile of I don't know what, and then Cesaro lost. I mean,
Really?
yeah, I was those things in a row depressed me.
No, hang on. You thought the Divas match was a steaming pile of shit. Tell me why.
Because maybe that I'm going overboard, but it was more of the same. There was nothing. Yeah. It was their idea of the Divas Revolution is they put them into high school cliques.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tape Machines. I think that was the first place I read that, but that's all they've done. They don't have characters. They're just
Tumblr.com.
They're just they just don't like each other because they're girls, and they formed little teams to not like each other. And and instead of a 5-minute crappily booked match, we now get 20-minute crappily booked matches.
Rough.
So
this I mean, we said it last night, man. There was no way that this was going to even come close to living up to last night's bout. And there's no way that, again, I said it last night. I'm going to say it again. The Divas Revolution is dead. They killed it. They have killed their own big push, and it started last night when they didn't. Look, there's no such thing. I'm going to start over. There's no such thing as a co-main event. There's the main event was the last person to which closes the show. Everything else is the undercard. That's it. So there's no such thing as a co-main event, and they fucked up last night by not having the 4 women in the ring raising up the 4 fingers and then scene. Screen goes black. That's it. End of the show. That would have been the perfect way to go. Hey, this is women's wrestling. This is what we're really behind. And then you have tonight where this was sloppy. This was bad. And it starts with the whole having Tamina Snuka. Fuck Tamina Snuka. She sucks. Brie Bella, she's a little bit better than Tamina Snuka. She still sucks shit. Oh, Alicia Fox? Alicia Fox is actually kind of talented. Tonight, sucks shit. Oh, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch actually looked kind of good. Charlotte Flair, though, sucks shit. Oh, man. Sasha Banks just tore the house down last night. Tonight, sucks shit. Everybody sucks shit tonight, man. This was an awful fucking... Oh, my God. Nothing was good. Nothing was good about this. The only positive, I guess, is that, Becky Lynch comes out looking better than everybody else. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks are the future of the Divas division. Because everybody else looked awful. And I'm sorry for being the person who's kind of getting worked up over this, but everybody else looked bad. Paige going, this is my house, and then, 2 minutes later, Tamina Snuka I need a catchphrase too. So Tamina Snuka said something like, "This is my ring." Really? You couldn't even deviate a little bit. Oh man, Geno, this is my podcast, and then the next time that we're on and I'm not on, you go, "This is my radio show." Dude, just oh my God. Sorry.
Yeah.
Geno's pissed. It's not Geno. It sounded like Geno. That was a good Geno time.
So,
God. Oh.
Here's the problem, or it's again, and NXT really served to illustrate, helped illustrate the problem between the two. So the NXT Women's Title match was everything that they did meant something. Like we talked about, is how great it was for Sasha to get the bank statement on, and Bayley's got the busted hand, and she's using her free foot to just blast away at that hand and making sure she can't reach out for the ropes. Everything they did meant something, and it was, you could get emotionally invested because of that, and because there was something on the line, something very important, something meaningful. Everything about this was they're fighting for a cause. Tonight, you got a bunch of people half of which can't work to save their ass, some of which are literally so bad at their jobs, I can't believe they actually have jobs, fighting for no reason. There's nothing on the line. Brie Bella...
Why was she crying? Why was Brie Bella crying?
Probably because she knows she sucks.
To miss that drop kick?
Yeah, she did the drop. She does a drop kick, and she's in midair. In midair, forgets that she didn't scream Brie mode before she jumped, so she Brie, and then whiffs completely. Just misses, and it looks terrible, and just so bad. And there's so many things about. There was one good thing about this match: Nikki Bella's suicide dive. Greatest suicide dive I've ever seen in my fucking life. Like, it was, I thought she hurt herself. It was so, like, she was a fucking dagger dart coming between the ropes, and it looked like she hit, and I said, well, bad shoulder, and out she goes, and that would have been the best thing. But it's just such, and her ass is all the way out with the trunks she wears now, which is like, here's our champion, the one who's wearing the least amount of clothing. She can work, but she's the one who wears the least amount of clothing.
I don't know, man. Charlotte Flair's shorts are getting...
They are. They've gotten shorter on the main roster.
That's true. And that what's that tell you? We're not, NXT, here's Bayley wearing long pants.
I mean, Alexa Bliss wears the house down. And she's got a nice ass on her, but
tearing the house. But the point is just that it's very clear that it's here's ass. Check out hot ass. Chick with big ass, look at it, it's out. Get distracted by the fact that the wrestling that you're seeing is poorly put together, the story's no good, it's just a bunch of people, and like Roth said, the person who had a match of the year candidate the night before was fucking almost immediately taken out of this match.
Which might have been because she was banged the fuck up. I mean, that's possible.
Kevin Owens didn't get that treatment.
No, you're right.
Far more brutal match.
I mean, I pray to God that Sasha's not actually injured, but it did. Yeah, it didn't make. Did she get in at all?
She was in. Yeah, she got her time early.
Tamina did most of the work for the team before they got bounced, though.
Well, but she had her time early, but the crowd was dead, and it was. They looked. She even looked kind of lost. Like, I don't really know. And that's the thing too. You get so many different people. You don't work matches like that typically. In NXT, how many big matches like that did they have where it's just trios and it's all these tags that?
I actually didn't understand. Like, before the match, I didn't understand what the rules were. Where it was an elimination tag match. I was under the assumption that the person who got pinned is eliminated.
No, they added that in. I found it when I wrote the preview for that match this morning. They had added it to the WWE.com story. They added a sentence saying, "If anyone on the team is eliminated, the whole team is eliminated."
Like, oh my God! Like,
I just knew at that point that we weren't getting anything.
And the frustrating thing is, I understand why they're doing this Divas Revolution. They're trying to kind of buy into the Ronda Rousey hype, and again, we said last night, we said it last night. They caught lightning in a bottle with Bayley, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte. Lightning in a bottle. Those are the four, and then Paige, kinda, and Emma, kinda, but those four are the big ones for NXT, and they got called up, and Stephanie introduces them in the weirdest way possible. Hey Paige, I have two people for you on your team now. What?
She picked squads for them. It was like intramurals.
Oh man, I drafted two people for you that in NXT you feuded with one, and 8 years ago you used to tag with the other. And Sasha Banks, you've never met these two broads before, but you're with them because you're black, and one's black and the other one's Samoan. And what?
So
I mean, the message that they took out of the success of NXT was we need to put them on longer. They didn't look at how the matches were put together. They didn't look at the fact that they had distinct characters that had conflicts with each other, where they valued. I mean, that's why that match last night. One of the reasons it was so great was because that belt is everything to the women in NXT. And tonight we got this usual lip service about when Nikki's going to break the record, but all they had to do was slap on the stipulation that if you get a pin, you get a title shot.
And Becky, they should do that.
They should do it anyway, but
tomorrow, yeah, Becky should win the title at Night of Champions. Becky Lynch should absolutely win the title at Night of Champions.
Whoever pinned Tamina, even if she's on Team Bella, I don't even remember, she should get a title shot. And you should start to tease tension in between the teams.
Bree's the one who pinned Tamina.
Bree and Becky should get title shots. I can't believe I just said that, but
are you ready? Speaking of this, there's WrestleZone posted a report today, and I'm going to make sure this makes it into. Yes, it is. I'm going to make sure it makes it into the rumors tomorrow. I'm going to send this to Randall Ortman. He's probably already got it.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So they're claiming that the original plan for the Divas Revolution was that Charlotte would immediately win the title upon call-up. Sasha and Becky would come with. They would just beat the shit out of the current Divas roster. They would overrun them, right? And that was what the original idea was. However,
my idea yesterday.
However, this was nixed by none other than John Cena, who went to Vince McMahon and said, "Nope, we're not doing that." And so they didn't do that. And now they're just doing what they're doing now. I've never read a report from quote-unquote sources. I'm not going in on WrestleZone. WrestleZone's fine. I don't have a problem with WrestleZone. There are sites that do this. This is why we have a rumor roundup. Because we're not going to do the thing where we go, sources say. Yeah, I hear shit. You think I don't? I hear plenty of shit. We've built
multiple sauces.
Yeah, we've built enough of a name that we have people who talk to us and tell us shit constantly. But I've never once reported it because I don't fucking trust any of it. I'll never be in the Dave Meltzer position, ever. I won't do it. It's wrestling. It's bullshit. Everyone's trying to work everyone else. I've had it happen once where I was like so confident in something that I said it before it was the case, and then I got burned on it later because it ended up not being the case because they were just working some shit. So I've never been more like, I couldn't shake my head any harder at this rumor. It's such a silly, not believable thing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was true, but like, come on. Cena went to Vince and was like, "You're not beating my girlfriend for the title with Charlotte. I'm just not going to like." What point and purpose for that? And like everything has been centered really around, even though they don't put any focus on it, around her beating AJ's record. So none of that makes sense to me. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Somebody threw that at me that I was arguing with in the NXT thread today, who was getting on me about being negative about Triple H, because you're not allowed to do that apparently. He actually is a god, and you cannot question anything that he does. So yeah, but they threw that rumor around as like, well, it's not Triple H's fault. It's because Cena overruled him, and Cena's the one tanking the Divas Revolution. And I, like you said, that doesn't make any kind of sense to me. It doesn't fit with anything that we know about anyone. And yeah, it's just, that strikes me as a way to not. Again, people are really, really fucking defensive of WWE. I don't get it. I mean, I love the product. I write about it. I watch it. I'm not anti-WWE. I just want them to be better, and they have a track record of fucking some stuff up, so I call them on it. But there are people who will get upset when you do that, and they'll look for other reasons, and one of those things is apparently that it's John Cena's fault, which, that's bullshit. That's my feelings on it.
I'm happy that Charlotte didn't get the belt. I mean,
Me too.
I mean, Sean and I, you do the NXT podcasts, and you joined last night, but for the most part, when they have the takeovers, it's just Sean and I, and like what we've been talking about on a lot of those is just like, it seems like Charlotte has regressed, or like she stopped caring, or just something's kind of different than, like, she had a really, really good match against Sasha, and then like after that, it just seemed like something clicked negatively. So like she went from being a pretty good female worker, where you go and you're like, well, she's tall, she's attractive, she can work, and like she has charisma, and now it's just like, oh man, she, like, it's not that she has two left feet, because that would be a negative, that would be way too negative, to say, but it just seems like something's missing in her brain where she's not like she hasn't been able to recapture that magic, and I think that Sean's right. You're right. If anybody needs to win that belt to change up the title at Night of Champions, it needs to be Becky Lynch, because Becky right now, like, it needs to be Becky or Sasha Banks.
Well, I would put it on Sasha and have Becky chase her. That's your fucking money feud on the main roster.
Greenfield on Twitter said, "Give it to Becky at Night of Champions and have Sasha take it from her at Survivor Series."
That's quite, either way, that's your feud, though. However you want to book it.
Right.
Sasha,
If you want to change people's minds about women's wrestling, let those women have microphone time and match time.
And also stop doing tag matches.
Two things have to happen. You have to put the belt on someone new who hasn't had it before, so one of those three, and you have to get the Bella Twins out of there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe, and again, Brie is awful. I'm not even going to be nice about it at this point. Brie's terrible. She is horrific at her job. You cannot be this bad at this gig for this long and just expect to just continue to get to do what, I mean, she's the positioning that she gets is just baffling to me as far as relative to her actual talent. Nikki can work. It has to be a bit like what you're saying with Charlotte, and the point there is the guidance is different. The ability, they're not, when it's you got to do it on your own, essentially. I think that's probably it, where it's not as carefully managed. So it's Becky does just fine because she just goes out there, starts suplexing motherfuckers, and everything looks great, and gets a good match even out of Tamina with it. Like, yeah, you can do that, but it's different with Charlotte. She needs someone like Natalya to help get that out of her, and they need to book it properly, and all the outside stuff has to be just.
The other thing with Charlotte is, and this started to happen in NXT, so it's not a fully blame the main roster, but they decided that her character is female Ric Flair, and it's not. All she does is woo and go for the figure four, and she even does the flop sometimes.
Those chops.
Yeah.
Those chops are terrible.
She was good as this, like, they had her as, like, she was like a little gymnast. They played up her volleyball background. I mean, she's a legit competitive athlete, and she's working her. And they dropped all that because she's Rick's little girl, and it's disappointing.
So yeah, that's our idea then. The Cageside Seats endorsed idea is to put the belt on Becky or Sasha and have those two just go after it, and then get the Bella Twins out of there. Send Alicia Fox down to NXT and tighten her game up, because they need women now more than ever, and she'll probably do well down there. Mm-hmm. Just get that scene, actually freshen the scene up. That'd be quite the thing to do.
If you wanted to keep the Bellas busy, you could actually revisit the feud where Nikki wanted her sister to die in the womb and then made her a slave. You could pick that back up.
You could,
because you just dropped that and never brought it up again. So,
or you could bring Chelsea Green in and say that she had an affair with John Cena and really get this mother shit going.
I mean, like, Sean, you and I have talked about this as well. Like, the women in the WWE, besides Paige, let's say Paige, Nikki, AJ Fox, Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha Banks, they're not. And that's and I guess maybe Natalya, they're not great, and they need refreshers. They need to get back to the basics. They need to relearn their craft. And like, if Tyson Kidd who's one of the most technically sound people wrestling on the planet, it has to gets relegated down to NXT for almost a year. Why aren't they sending Brie Bella down? Why aren't they sending Tamina Snuka down? Why aren't they sending there's no reason to keep them on the main roster if all they're doing is taking up space. Right now you have 6 women that are competent, and the rest can go down to NXT, learn from Sarah Madio.
Well, according to Keith's reporting, shout out to Keith Harris, is that Sarah Amato is booking. She's the road agent for the women's matches on the main roster now. I went back and read a bunch of his stuff today. She's been, and Triple H has been talking her up as that.
But that's crazy to me too, because then the women in NXT are going to be suffering. I don't know. Like,
or Norman Smiley and who else is down there? Joey Mercury used to do it. I don't know. Maybe he's back down there doing it now since J&J Security's not a thing. He worked with the women when Paige and Emma were down there. So I don't know.
It just seems like
probably too many cooks in the kitchen on the main roster. Period.
Way too many.
There's women on the main roster that need to get to relearn their craft, and like they've become complacent. You know, like the Bellas are always going to be on Monday Night Raw. They're always going to be, because the Bella, hate that fucking word, but the Bella brand is so strong.
And I would buy that the Bellas don't get sent down.
Bella should be on Monday Night Raw.
I would believe. Well, I don't think that John Cena is keeping the belt on anybody or changing the match order at TakeOver. I would believe that maybe Nikki doesn't get sent down because John likes to have his woman on the road with him.
No, they would never get sent down because they're too integral to.
Well, Eva Marie got sent down though.
Yeah, but they do too much outside of that.
Yeah.
Outside of WWE, as far as.
But like Naomi and Tamina Snuka, and like they're look, I like Naomi, and she at one point
she's got great shoes.
But like she's lost. She's lost in the shuffle right now. And Bayley needs people to work with. And so do what you did with, Cesaro working in NXT with Sami Zayn. Do what you did with Tyson Kidd working in NXT while you're redeveloping his character. Let these women, like, one, relearn their craft, also get some time to actually work, which happens in NXT, which is why we've seen.
Did they work on house shows? Do we know, like, how much time do the women get on house shows? Any?
On the main roster?
Yeah.
They work the house shows. I'd assume they probably get the same amount of time that they're getting on television.
I don't know. It's just weird. I don't understand what the difference is.
House shows are a waste of time. I don't ever deal with house shows.
I just look at it sometimes just to see who's working. I mean, because that's a place where you can get, even with NXT, that's part of where they get their work in. Is they do mostly in Florida and around there, but they more and more on the road. But that's where they get a lot of their work in.
It's a bit to me like the psychology behind. I don't know what it's called. I know there's a name for it, but you go to a grocery store and you're trying to find a box of cereal, and you stand in the aisle and there's 98 different boxes of cereal, and then you just can't decide. Like, there's something in your brain that makes it difficult for you to actually just choose one and be happy with the choice that you make, right? Because there are just too many options. That's kind of a bit like that right now, right? If there was only Lucky Charms and Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you could pick one and be happy with that choice. But there's 88 different things, and you're just never going to be happy with it because you're like, well, what if the other one was better? It's something. I think it's a bit like that now, where there's just so many people on TV at one time. There's so much going on that there's just this, like, who am I supposed to get behind? Who am I supposed to be cheering for? Who am I supposed to be rooting against? Why am I supposed to care about any of this at all? Fuck it, I'll just go eat a Pop-Tart.
And the alignment stuff that we've talked about before doesn't help that either.
Yeah,
Even tonight, why was I supposed to be excited that Becky and Paige and Charlotte won tonight? Because they're hot white chicks? I mean, I don't know why.
And JBL said, they're going to have a lot of people coming after Nikki Bella's title now. Really? Literally none of them have said a fucking word about it they've been here for weeks now, and no one's even brought it up once.
And Nikki hasn't defended her title since the 4th of July.
Sasha submitted her clean a week ago, and no one gives a shit. They were out first. Like, what? It's nonsense. Yeah. But other stuff happened on this show.
All right, let's do it, yeah.
New Day rocks.
It does.
Greatest celebration I've ever seen in my life.
Tricep meet.
Darren Young's a really good dude, but he's going to lose. He's a nice guy, but he's going to lose the title.
What did he say? What did X say about we are hurting him in an entertaining way or something? Xavier Woods is a national treasure.
He's the man. Put the belt on him now. He is great. That was actually a fun match.
He just managed more people. Yeah, that was after Owens Cesaro. That's my second favorite match on the card.
I like the fact that the New Day tagging each other in and almost like finishing the match just by pinning each other. That would have been amazing.
Good psychology.
That's great psychology, and we've never seen that before, so it's great.
And apparently that goes along. That and the expanded timekeepers duties are new rule changes of the WWE. WWE.
Yep.
You want to know how I do it, Sean?
Mm.
Here's how you do that.
Okay.
So the way you actually pronounce W is the word double,
right,
and then U,
right,
because that's what it is. It's a double U. So the proper pronunciation is W. You just say that faster. So WWE.
I don't think I can do it though. WWE. I can't.
Why
It's
do
not
you
the
fuck
same.
with your accent? You're like WWE.
WWE. Because I want to sound just like you.
No, I know. So here's an interesting thing. We're speaking of match of the night. I put up the poll 45 minutes ago, roughly, and in the lead, 53%. This is 600 votes so far. 53% is John Cena versus Seth Rollins.
It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a bad match.
I thought both of the main event matches were good matches with really weird fucking up finishes.
Don't call them main event. There's only one main event, Sean.
Yeah,
Whatever.
You're buying into that bullshit marketing, Sean.
Well, at least this one was structured like a Raw. I mean, fucking Cena Rollins was in like the 10 o'clock hour.
Roth, did you see someone on Twitter actually use the UFC in their argument against me?
Oh, yeah.
The UFC does it all the time. It's like, bro, that should kill you. That should immediately make you understand how dumb it is.
Yep, and you know what happens in the UFC? They put the bantamweight title or the flyweight title or any of those smaller weight class titles, like unless it's Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's getting top billing. Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo is getting top billing
because he's a star.
Because he's a star, but any other lighter weight gets put in the number 2 slot. And you know what? If you aren't closing the show, you are second best. And what do we learn from the best from The Rock, the movie The Rock? Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Yes, and that's what that is that the star of the show, you put him in the main event, and you don't need to make a big deal that he's in the main event. The guy who's in the co-main event was created to try to make the person who's not a main eventer into a bigger deal than they actually are. That's the entire thing behind that promotional tool. So don't fucking tell me it was the main. No, it was not. Did it go on last? No, it didn't. It's not the main event. So it's just that whole thing. That's not a debate. That's not like that is literally marketing working. You are a mark. I'm sorry, I don't even like to use that, but that's what you are when you buy into that, a mark. They worked you. They fucking worked you so good that you're arguing with people who know better than you and thinking you know better than them. I'm not even trying to be a cocky dickhead. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the whole. I mean, it's genius marketing on WWE's part, but that's the whole. Like, you can't argue about NXT. You can't say anything bad about them. They've created like a cult. It's like ECW. They've created their in-house ECW. Yeah. And they're making all the money, and you can't say anything bad about it.
Yep. And now we can't criticize it because it's you'll find everything to complain about. But again,
everything.
Yeah. Again, if you want to settle for second best, fine. And you saw who responded to that on Twitter, Sean?
No. Oh yeah. Katrina.
You like that?
Yeah.
She's a Cagesider.
There you go. And that's right. And she left the company because she didn't think she'd ever get a fair shot.
And she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
She's great.
She's one of the best things about Each Underground.
Yep.
I
sent her the lick of death.
Oh, yeah.
I sent her the lick of death, and she retweeted it, and I was like, dude, I just used her own GIF against her. How baller is this day? Right? And then she winked at me and put XO, so I've turned into a little mark for a minute there.
Wow, that's some hot shit.
She's a Cagesider, man.
The second main event, the other main event of tonight, the Seth Rollins.
Fuck off! God, I hate nuts.
All right, whatever you want to call it. The title for title match is front page ESPN.com. And the headline, John Stewart turns heel.
Fuck off! Yeah, this is peak WCW. This is really what it is. Headlines.
Did they cover Sasha Banks versus Bayley on the front page?
They didn't cover Brock Lesnar on the front page. The front page.
Maybe that's why they did that, because they knew ESPN was covering it and they wanted it to be as big as it could possibly be, and they wanted like a big enough story with a big enough name who would draw that kind of attention, so they thought the juice would be worth the squeeze. They thought the negative backlash, whatever negative backlash may come, like WCW did essentially with Arquette. Now, granted, they're not putting the belt on him, certainly, right, so it's not that bad, but it was essentially a decision had to be made between the positive that we'll get out of how much press we'll get from this. We're going to get ourselves out there. We're going to get exposure, and that's the biggest thing is just to make sure you're in front of as many eyeballs as possible, versus the negative backlash that would come from making such an awfully stupid decision. Now that clearly, obviously, worked out very poorly for them. Their decision-making was horrific. That was a terrible thing to do, and it helped kill the promotion. This is not going to do that to WWE. There's nowhere near that, and I'm certainly not arguing as much. They're probably going to come out on the better end for it. But at the same time, you are getting the increased exposure, so why not use it to promote something like the Sasha Bailey kind of thing, where it's just, hey, this is how cool wrestling can be, and it's not, our biggest title is not determined by a fucking former satire political talk show host who came in and just did a chair shot just for the fucking hell of it.
Also, who's not really a heel in real life. You know what John Stewart's doing post-Daily Show, Geno and Sean?
What is he doing?
Opening an animal sanctuary in New Jersey. That's
Beautiful.
what he's doing.
He runs a nonprofit that he's done this on the down low for years, where he runs a nonprofit where he helps returning veterans get jobs in the entertainment industry.
And
He's apparently a fucking saint.
Yeah, like, he's one of the greatest people ever.
Hopefully they're going to explain this. I mean, I really hope it's not. I mean, if it is, I'll be much more pissed off tomorrow if this was a one-time thing, like Geno said, that gets explained in a Fallout video and we never see him again. I hope this at least ties into Rollins' story somehow. I'll give him a day to fix that. I don't have a whole lot of confidence, but I'm not ready to bury it yet. But it is. I mean, the problem is this was a 4-hour Raw and not anything else.
Also, I learned that I get really, really exhausted from watching a 4-hour long Raw.
Especially after you watched a 2-hour wrestling show last night.
Yeah.
I've got a Fallout video with Sabrina, the Teenage Witch.
She was there. She's a big fan.
Isn't that who that is?
Melissa Joan Hart?
Yeah. She live tweets Raw a lot of times.
You guys want to hear a potentially big Raw spoiler that PW Insider is reporting on now? It's a spoiler.
Yep.
Okay. Cover your earmuffs if you're spoiler averse.
Guess who flew back into New York?
I saw this. The Stinger.
The Stinger. The Stingman. And
maybe they're going to do Brock Taker earlier, and then
Undertaker will be on the same show.
And then
I don't care. It's just fucking geriatrics. You know what? I'm hoping for Biker Taker to go for WrestleMania, but instead of a motorcycle, he's riding a rascal scooter.
Oh my God!
I think Michelle should drive him in on a golf cart.
Well, they're going to need to for as big as that damn stadium is.
That's true. He got wind. I mean, he got gas pretty early tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, someone sent me a video of him walking to the back, and just before he gets to where he's actually in the backstage area, and you can still see him, he collapses to his knees. And they're like, oh my God, Taker collapses on his way backstage. And it's like, that he's probably just selling it.
Well, he did that apron leg drop, and then he stood on the outside with his hands on his... He did like something I would do. A fucking winded, out-of-shape 40-something guy just huffing for a while, walking around.
He was wobbly.
I mean, maybe he was selling it, because they did the spot where he grabbed his chest, and that was the setup to sucker Brock in for the Hell's Gate the one time. So maybe he was playing it up, but he looked rough.
What other matches were there?
We got the Amel thing, which was fun, but it was nothing. It was a piece of fluff.
The only match that will get a WWE commentator to actually call the match is a celebrity match, because they'll do a fucking hip toss and everyone will freak out.
They'll mark out about that.
No, you know what the best part of that match was? The first front kick that Stephen Amell threw. That actually was a real front kick.
Yep.
That was not kayfabe. That was a shit.
And those arrow boots are fucking hardcore too. Those things were.
He just kicked him in the stomach wearing Doc Martens. And Stardust's face was like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? This is...
I don't like that they absolutely, everyone was correct who just assumed that Neville and Barrett were added in so they could do the finish, and that's exactly what happened. And I don't know, I kind of foolishly thought, Amel's not going to come back. This was a one-off shot. Yep. And then this would be a really good way to get rid of the Stardust character and get Cody Rhodes back. I seen a pretty cool idea from our friend Sarah Kaufman on Twitter saying it'd be really cool if Stardust they did a segment on Raw where Stardust just woke up as Cody Rhodes and had no memory whatsoever of Stardust at all. I thought that might work. It'd be like one of those, typically you don't like when a sitcom would do that where it's like everything was just a dream, but I don't know, that would kind of work for me as far as how ridiculous the characters become.
I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what is there any future for Cody? I mean, we've had Cody before, and they don't book him that well either. So
this is going to get me blasted, but I don't see money in Cody Rhodes in any form, even Stardust. I just don't. I don't think he's not really worth the time.
He's one of those guys that I think he would draw money in ROH or in Lucha Underground because
be a good indie guy.
He'd be a very, very good indie guy. The problem is that like he's a great worker. He's a great worker, and he commits to a character.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
How many characters has Cody Rhodes had?
Yeah, the dashing. Then Mysterio disfigured him, and that. Yeah, I mean he's been
Rhodes
through quite
Scholar.
a few. Rhodes Scholars, yep.
Yeah, so he's
Legacy.
With Orton before when he was part of the the Legacy?
Legacy.
Yeah, with DiBiase and Orton.
Like
awful stable.
So he's 7 characters. Like 5, 6 or 7 characters.
Yeah, I mean he commits all. He goes all in on all of them.
But that's cool. But yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, I kind of agree with you at this point. I like him a lot, but I don't know that he's much. To me, he's a mid-card guy who you'd cycle like the IC belt to occasionally when you needed to put it on somebody. Which there's nothing wrong with that guy. I mean, one of my favorite wrestlers is Christian, and he's that guy.
Dolph Ziggler's that guy.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's another match we can talk about.
You need guys like that. Yeah, let's talk about that now then, because I got to get going here in a sec, because I got a lot of work to do. Dolph Ziggler. Boy, the Lana stuff bugs me now more than ever because she's completed her transformation. And some women on Twitter were like, hey, this is what girls do. You get out of an abusive relationship and you kind of go to the next person and they're sort of looked at as like a savior, and therefore they kind of adopt a lot of the same characteristics. You kind of become that person. And Lana has just totally to me it was like, okay, there's this story is her quest for independence, and she's going to be a strong female role model, and she's going to get out of an abusive relationship with a controlling, manipulative guy like Rusev, which again wasn't the story, and that's our problem with it. But if that's what they're trying to say, it just seems interesting to me that she would not only not spend any time where it's just her and the focus is on just her, but she would immediately get a boyfriend. All the focus would go to him, and then she would just become a female version of him and go right into, it's not about her independence. Now she's just a supporting character in her own story. And that's just like, that bothers me. I don't understand.
They always do, though. I mean, this is what they did with AJ. You're either you're one of the 2 women competing for the Divas title, which is the way it's always been until this revolution started, because there were only 2.
We're now,
and everybody else is the female version of the guy they hang out with.
But now in the Divas Revolution, now 0 women are competing for the title.
True, we solved that problem.
Now 0 women are competing for the Divas title, and Lana is a supporting character in her own fucking story. I don't know how. That is actually, holy shit, that is fucking impressive. It is impressive how they're so good at booking women so poorly. Mm-hmm. That is shock. Now that it's said out loud like that, holy motherfuck, we just said those are the only 2 things they can do well. They can't even do those things well.
No, you guys are wrong, because Lana, as a Russian, is now in 1980s female American wearing acid wash jeans. And so, like, you just have to understand the story, which is, like, Soviet Union, leaving the Soviet Union and finding acid wash jeans. That makes
sense. That'll change you.
She's still speaking Russian, and crowds are still chanting USA at Rusev. Well, she's still Russian in the story. How does that make any fucking sense?
I don't. I mean, the only people who stuck up for their significant other in this match too is when Summer was in trouble, Rusev went to help her, and when Rusev was in trouble, Summer went to help him.
She beat the shit out of him.
Dolph and Lana just want to fucking tongue swap spit all the time, and
that felt good when Summer was just laying punches on the back of Ziggler's head. That's what you get for trying to super kick her on Raw, you piece of shit.
No, he stopped.
That was phenomenal.
Man.
And then Lana gets in, and her slaps and her man, I can't wait for the match. They're going to do a mixed tag probably at Night of Champions, and I can't wait for it because Lana's going to be terrible.
No,
Summer's actually pretty good.
I was hoping, all right. It's just I'm ready for this story to fucking be over. I was hoping tonight it would, but it doesn't. It was
double count out.
Sunday Night Raw. Nothing. I mean, the announcers were even saying, "Well, this isn't over."
No, man. You know what? If Teddy Long was still here, man,
he would have done it on the spot.
Player. We gotta have a tag match right now.
Hold on a minute here. Play.
Yep. And Brock would have gone one-on-one with the Undertaker too.
1-on-1 Yep. So yeah, that's what they're gonna do for Night of Champions. It's gonna be great because Lana's gonna look terrible, and the We Want Lana chants are gonna stop quickly when people realize that Ava Marie is significantly better than she is. And Hot Summer's gonna work circles around her, and it's gonna be awesome because she's actually not gonna work circles around her. She's also gonna look like shit because of how bad Lana is. And
And
then
also how bad Summer Rae is. Like Summer Rae is not Shawn Michaels or like, you know what? Summer Rae's not even like.
Summer Rae is a poster child for what you were talking about earlier, Roth. Somebody who was getting better on NXT, and then they put them on the main roster, and all development stopped, and they just actually started to regress.
Yep. And so like after this feud is over, send Summer back down. The original girl, the original diva of NXT returns. The prodigal son returns. However you want to say.
Jesus, Rob.
You guys got it. Look at the Face Off put a picture in the comment thread beneath the post of Lana slapping Summer Rae with this
giant smile on her face.
There's a big.
She's not good at her job. She's not
I can't wait to look.
She's not.
No.
All right, so we do have to talk about a couple more matches.
Oh, God, there were so many matches.
What else was there? What are we
missing? Sheamus Orton,
Wyatt, Luke Harper.
Oh yeah, we forgot about the Ambrains.
We forgot about Ryback, Big Show, Miz.
I didn't watch that. I'll be honest with you.
It was actually pretty good.
Was it? I didn't. I had to.
The Miz, not surprisingly, the Miz is what made it good.
Yeah.
The crowd. I was kind of surprised the crowd was actually into the match. It went the perfect amount of time where they did just enough that they didn't have a chance to get boring with it. Ryback actually got Big Show up and hit the shell shock, and Miz ran in and did the skull crushing finale on Ryback, and then just alternated trying to get pins on both of them, and never worked, and he just kept doing it, and it never stopped being funny. So it was like, that's actually pretty great. And then Ryback, of course, gets up, and Miz is like, oh shit, I'm fucked, and he gets thrown around. That was weird psychology, or weird booking even on the finish where Big Show hit his finish, and Ryback took advantage and threw him out of the ring and scored the pin on Miz on Big Show's finish, which I thought was a weird thing to do for the babyface conquering champion. But yeah, it actually wasn't a bad match. I was entertained.
I'll have to go back and watch it. That was when I decided to get food.
The Wyatt, Luke Harper, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns match. The big takeaway is that Brooklyn hates Roman Reigns. Like, if the WWE is going to Brooklyn and Roman Reigns is not a heel, do not book him on a show. Do not let him wrestle, because
this crowd was like they weren't bad or anything, but they were like a parody. They were worse than the NXT crowd in terms of like NXT gets a bad rap of like going into business for themselves or just being super smarky and like not liking anything WWE wants them to like. This crowd was more so than the TakeOver crowd, I thought. Because what's the point of booing Roman Reigns at this point? He's not getting pushed to the moon.
Because he's cheesy.
He is, and I dislike that about him a lot, but dude,
they did the tag, and he did the, what's that hand signal called with the thumb up?
and the shocker?
Oh, yeah, and then he
acted like he was fucking chugging a beer or something, and he's the cheesiest dude on earth. Like, he's trying that's the thing.
He needs to stop trying so hard.
That's what I was gonna say. If I'm anybody who's like trying to help him grow as a performer, and he would never listen because he'd probably do the same thing Rollins would and tell me I don't know shit, even though I'm the fucking consumer. But I'd say, dude, you don't need to try. You're a badass simply by looking the way you look and beating the fuck out of people. That's all you need to do. The fact that you're trying so hard is the problem. You come off beyond cheesy, dude. You're a parody of yourself when you do that kind of shit. So you do that and you think it looks cool, but it's the kind of thing that I would expect a guy like Dean Ambrose to just give you that look where it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like,
which is kind of what Ambrose does. They did the thing, and then Roman's the one tilting it back and drinking it, and Dean just gets out of the way.
Yeah, and Dean's kind of got to not drag himself down by not playing into the shit.
Yeah.
And, there's just so much about it. And like you said on Twitter, I liked your line where it's like, I'd probably be more into Roman if all his mannerisms and setups are where he looks like he's jerking something off or he's coming all over the place.
Thing is he goes, whoa!
Yeah, he's always in. Yeah, he's always in the middle of coming everywhere. I don't know why it's that way. It doesn't need to be like that, Romy.
You call him Romy.
Yeah, Romy.
Rome.
He's either Holman Haynes or Romy.
He's a big badass. He wears fucking paramilitary garb. be a badass. Be fucking
aggressive.
Jesse Ventura in Predator. Don't talk. Don't have time to bleed. That's all you need to do.
That's
be
right.
a badass.
And he's not. He's just a cheesy action hero.
And boy, so Bray Wyatt is. We're done, right? We're done.
Yep. No, he's done.
Like, or is tomorrow? Is he going to cut a cryptic promo and half of the internet's going to go, "This is his time"?
No, he is. He's the creepy dude in the neighborhood, but he's harmless. So, like, someone new moves in, and you're like, yeah, that guy's creepy, but don't worry, you'd kick his ass if he stepped to you. Yeah. That's who Bray Wyatt is now. God. And they're like, yeah, but what about that big ass rabid-looking dog that's next to him? Oh, don't worry, he's not a threat either.
Yeah. Ambrose is really over.
Ambrose he's the guy that's always going to be over when they go to places like this. Always, no matter what they do.
That was good. I got excited.
He's always going to be over because, like, he's actually kind of entertaining, and like he can work a microphone when he needs to, and he can also work a match. And since he's a babyface, he's going to get wins. Fucking Bray Wyatt is dead. Bray Wyatt character is dead. He is dead. And then, like, tomorrow he's going to be like, so, you think that you got that win over me? But let me tell you about the buzzards. And caw.
I want his new catchphrase to be caw.
They're here. And the buzzards are here. And look at this lamp. It's not really a lamp, it's a light bulb.
Batman?
Batman.
Where are they?
Are you Batman?
That was a very good Christian Bale Batman.
Where's my win?
It's what I do that defines me.
What else we got to talk about? Orton Sheamus happened.
Yeah, that happened.
And that's gonna keep happening too.
I like what Tape Machine said. Scott Christ, our good buddy Tape Machine's rolling.tumblr.com. He said, it's Cesaro and Owens were put in the death slot where even if they had a good match, and they had a very good match, a great match even, and they could hardly get over with it because of where it was positioned, they put Sheamus and Orton, who had a mediocre match, which was just regular, everything you've ever seen from those two kind of match, they put it in the auto heat spot, which was the first match on the card.
Yep.
People are going to react to it just because, it's the first thing they see. So everyone looks good when it's... And I can remember when I went to a show back in the day that, like, I never thought of it that way, but it's absolutely true. Because
you're excited to see some wrestling.
The first even moderate star gets a huge pop. For me, it was a long time ago because they never bring Raw here. It's always house shows, and fuck a house show. I'm not buying... If you go to a house show, you're a huge mark.
Yeah, they're kind of fun. But...
The Brood. It was the Brood. As soon as that music hit, dude, you'd have thought Gangrel was fucking Steve Austin, dude. We blew the roof off the joint just because it was, oh my God, an actual dude that we know. Holy shit! So that's what they did for Sheamus and Orton tonight, which was a smart call.
This is the second straight pay-per-view that they've opened with.
Yeah,
they opened
smart call because they're not going to get over otherwise, so they're just creative booking with it. And to my surprise, Sheamus went over, and there was no even hint of a cash-in. So.
The big rumors for tonight, the cash-in rumor didn't happen. The Reigns and/or Ambrose heel turn didn't happen.
The Rock wasn't there.
Sting was not involved in the end. Sting wasn't there. The Rock wasn't there. Right, nothing. They didn't pull out John Stewart heel turn.
No big surprise. Yeah, I guess the big surprise was John Stewart turned heel. That's what the big surprise would have to be. And there's rumors of a huge Raw angle, which I guess maybe that's the Sting thing. And I guess they're going to say, and Undertaker's going to be there, so maybe tomorrow they announce a couple matches for WrestleMania 32. I don't know. That's what's going around. I think that's it, though.
Did we miss anything? Is that all of it?
Probably. I mean, yeah, it's whatever, man.
Probably missed something, but fuck, who gives a shit at this point?
Mick Foley was there at the beginning. Yeah, that was.
What a waste of time.
That opening.
That was to swerve you away from the Stewart heel turn. They put him with the big baby face.
Oh man,
you wouldn't see the heel turn coming.
That opening, man.
I didn't see it. I couldn't get my network to work.
He brought up The Rock. I was surprised by that. He said I misheard you. I didn't think you wanted help interviewing Brock. I thought you said Rock. That's why I showed up. And Stewart's like, dude, you have his number. You were a tag team with him. That's silly as hell. And it's like, this is silly as hell. Didn't get over. Didn't like it. I thought maybe it was just going to – I thought The Rock might come out at that point and be like, so I thought you need some help? What's up? Or something like that. And then maybe that would have been kind of funny and fun. But instead it was just, I love you, Mick, but I just don't care to see you anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, of all the part-timers or all the returns of old legends and stars and stuff. I think he's used up all his dates, man.
I mean, yeah, in this area, I guess he's always going to get a pop, but yeah, I don't know.
You know what? Here's the one positive I'll say about Mick Foley. He was walking better than he's ever walked in years.
That's saying something. Good for Mick. I want him to walk right.
Good stuff, Mick. Good stuff.
And so, what do you think?
All right, let's see. Taker Lesnar, we talked about. Owen Cesaro, Team
We
Bad
talked about
Blood.
everything, Sean. Overall thoughts? What do you think of Monday Night SummerSlam?
Sunday Night Raw was pretty. I don't know. It's too much. That's my overall thought. It's too much.
Same arena, same time.
Yeah, I can't. I am not looking forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
What
lot.
There's big shits planned, apparently.
I know.
Is there football on tomorrow at all, Geno? Do you know?
No, there's not.
I don't want to talk about football. My center snapped his ankle today, and
Jordy Nelson is done for the year.
that is true. Yeah, we did. We took Jordy out for you.
I don't. Hey, man. Personally, I'm sorry you're hurt. Professionally, go fuck yourself.
And
So happy about it.
And scene.
There
How
you
about
go.
them Cowboys?
Fuck the Cowboys.
I don't know. Is that...
You guys.
All right, that's not very nice. Gino yelled at me to start the night. Matt's yelling at me to end the night.
Dang.
Fucking have to deal with it.
This